Hello everybody, Tim Knight here, and we're going to check out the hottest IPO in our lifetimes, SpaceX. SPCX will be the symbol, and if all goes as planned, it'll come public on June 12th, Friday, although who knows what time of day, because it's going to be just mayhem on that first day. But what I wanted to do in this video is try to contemplate what on earth is going to happen to the stock price over the days, the weeks, and the months that follow the IPO. Nobody knows. Even Elon doesn't know. This is an IPO filled with superlatives. It is far and away the biggest in history. It is being brought to you by the richest man on the planet. It is being brought to you by a man who will be the first trillionaire in history based upon the value of SpaceX. And everyone is talking about it, both in very good terms and very bad terms. So I thought what would be instructive is to look at past examples of hot IPOs, although nothing comes close to this, but the best we can do in terms of past analogs so we can tease out what are some of the possibilities and what are some of the likelihoods. Because there are several things that really drive the price after the IPO. One is the context of the market. Is it coming out in a red hot market like today or in kind of a dead market? What about the growth of the company, the future revenue growth, profit growth, and finally, and this seems subtle, but it's important in this case, the ability for insiders to sell. Because if you get those hundreds of millions of dollars being dumped on the market, that's going to suppress the price as well. And before we get into the nitty-gritty IPO examples, one fantastic example of a stock that had everything in its favor was Cisco. Because Cisco came out in 1990. The market pretty much stunk. It was a crummy market. And the insider selling was minimal. And obviously the growth prospects were terrific. So on a split adjusted basis, you basically went from a nickel stock up to a $50 stock over the course of the 90s. It was one of the greatest stocks ever. But we're in a very different environment right now. And if you look at UFO, which is the ETF that is all about the rocket and space sector, that didn't do much of anything for years. It came out in 2019, just stumbled around for year after year after year, went up, went down, really not much of anything. But starting around the middle of 2024, it got its sea legs back. And lately, it has been particularly strong because it's all about anticipating SpaceX. Even though SpaceX isn't public yet, you've got companies like ASTS, PL, RKLB that have been flying higher thanks to the excitement regarding SpaceX, and therefore UFO has been flying higher too. And that's a bit of a proxy in terms of the psychological thrill and excitement surrounding and anticipating this IPO. So let's look at some past examples of other stocks that have come out and try to tease out the various outcomes and fortunes that those experienced. So the first historical example we're going to get is Blackstone, which is symbol BX. Now, long-term, Blackstone has been a sensationally successful stock. It has made long-term holders great amounts of money, but we're focused on the IPOs today. And this is a good example of an IPO coming out at a really bad time because the market in 2007 was very, very expensive for those days. And BX came out and basically lost about 90% of its value. It was just a dog. And as we can see from the long term, it's not because the company's long-term prospects weren't good. It's just that its timing, when it happened to come out into the market, was very poor. And that's kind of the paradox here, because the best time to come out with an IPO, when the market's high and people are excited about stocks, is in a way kind of the worst time for people to get into it, because it will by its very nature be very expensive and could be heading into a recession or something like that that could damage the value. And that's precisely what had happened with BX. The next example is a very different one, which is Google, formerly known as Alphabet. And Google came out in 2004. Now, the market wasn't any kind of deep bear market recession or anything like that, but it was pretty battered because on the heels of the internet bubble collapsing, tech stocks were still pretty cheap. And it basically came out and started going up and never looked back. One who had purchased right on the IPO day would have probably never seen even one penny of loss because it came out at a fantastic time for its IPO. So long term, the growth fueled the tremendous rise of the stock, but even short term, 2004, 2005, 2006, it did terrific because it came out when the market was quite cheap and the market rose anyway, helping support Google's rise. The next example isn't one where the market was particularly high or particularly low. It's one in which the sheer dynamism and excitement around an IPO caused a price that was really higher than it should have been, and that was Meta, known at the time as Facebook. And this came out in 2012, and the stock came out in the mid 40s, and it plunged down to the teens some months later. Before it came out, everyone was obsessed with Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. I remember distinctly watching CNBC and the entire cast dressed in hoodies as sort of an homage to Zuckerberg's parallel wardrobe. And as with the other stocks mentioned, over the long haul, it had a terrific and sensational rise, but we're really focused on just the months subsequent to the IPO, and Facebook's first few months were really rotten. The next couple of examples are a little more recent. This is back in 2021 when we were post-COVID. Trillions of dollars of liquidity had flooded the system. SPACs were a big thing, and there were a tremendous number of IPOs that came out. And a couple of examples of larger IPOs that were very hotly anticipated were Rivian, R-A-V-N, and Coinbase, C-O-I-N. And this was due to the excitement at the time around crypto and around electric vehicles. In each case, after they came out, the stocks lost more than 90% of their value. And I think in Rivian's case, something like 95, 96%. It was a complete wipeout. And this was a combination of too much hype around those particular companies and the fact that the market in 2022 was quite hard on stocks. And so they both suffered tremendously. So this is a confluence of bad circumstances for those IPOs. And the final example is a much more recent one, CBRS, Cerebras. And this was a semiconductor firm, and semiconductors are extremely hot right now. And it was also a lot of excitement around it. And this really gets into the mechanics of IPOs, because just because a company comes out at X dollars doesn't mean that's what the public necessarily pays. When there's a lot of hype around it, you can pay 2, 3, 4 times as much, depending on how crazy things are. And in the case of Cerebras, the original offering price was going to be $115, but it was so oversubscribed, there was so much excitement, they bumped it up to $150, and then finally to $185. So they kept goosing the price up, because why not? You've got all this demand for it. And even with all those increases, when it actually came out, it was trading almost at 400. So on their IPO day, someone out there paid around $385 for a stock that just days before was supposed to come out at $115. It hasn't been out long. The stock's only been public a couple of weeks, but it's already down about 40% from that peak. Now that sounds really bad. And for the person who paid $385, it is really bad. Based upon what the company sold their stock for to the investment bankers that did the IPO, it's still way higher than the $185 price. So it's both gone up and gone down at the same time, because the public will pay whatever demand will require. And so just because the investment bank paid whatever it might be, $185 for the stock, it may trade in the public for much higher than that, which is exactly what happened with CBRS. So what does all this mean for SpaceX? Well, I think that as many uncertainties as there are probably a couple of things we can agree on objectively. One is that the fundamentals of the market overall are exceptionally high, based upon any metric you want. The Buffett indicator, the relationship to the long-term trend line, PE ratios, what have you. We're at levels that exceed the internet bubble, the housing bubble. We are at levels never seen before. So as far as context goes, SpaceX is coming out at an exceptionally expensive time in the market, which makes sense because you're not going to roll out a $2 trillion valuation company in a poor stock market. So that's one thing. The stock market as a whole is very, very richly valued. The other thing we can certainly agree upon is that there's a lot of hype around this. If you compare it to, say, Meta, much larger, because Elon's the most famous man on the planet, he's the richest man on the planet, and he's had tremendous success with Tesla. And so this company has just a fever pitch around it. And if one owned SpaceX and were inclined to sell every bit on the first day, I think a person could have every good reason for doing so, even at the risk of the stock going higher. And there are reasons that the stock may just go higher, because it's been widely reported that a lot of rules have been changed so that ETFs, large funds, have to buy the stock early on in its existence. And so the mechanics, the plumbing, if you will, are being put in place so there is a steady, almost passive demand for the shares, which should keep a big base of demand beneath it to keep it elevated. And the real question becomes, well, when did the sellers show up? And that's another big wrinkle in this, because there is a complex ladder of liquidation dates when insiders are permitted to sell, based on precise dates and also based upon and contingent upon the performance of the stock. If the stock does very well, there'll be more of an allowance for insiders to be selling. And so over the course of the summer and late into 2026, there'll be more and more permission for folks to sell. The actual specifics of this, they're very easy to find. You could just go to x.com and just type, SpaceX lockup. But it ranges from, it begins in August, second trading day after the first earnings release. And that's a pretty big chunk. And then it goes on from there, day 70, 90, 105, 120. And then the big one, the monster one, is the second trading day after the second quarterly earnings release, which would be around November. So suffice it to say, we're going to have to wait till the end of the year to see really where things shake out in terms of the effect all that insider selling has, because there's lots and lots and lots of people who are going to suddenly find themselves to be very rich and who might just want to get out. And so that sort of balancing will go on, the sort of push and pull between the kind of demand being set up with all these required purchases from the big funds and the ETFs, and the other side, which is the folks who suddenly find themselves fantastically wealthy and wouldn't mind converting some of those shares into cash. So there's no grand conclusion from any of this. It's not like this is exactly what's going to happen with the SpaceX stock price. But I think it's interesting to keep in mind a couple of things. One, the historical examples we've talked about, some for good, some for bad, but driven, I think, largely by a combination of hype as well as market context. And the other is the nitty-gritty specifics that are laid out in black and white in terms of when insiders are going to be allowed to dispose of their shares. So June 12th is going to be extremely exciting. All eyes will be on their monitors for that first trade. And I think for days to come after that, all chatter is going to be about what SpaceX is doing, whatever it's doing, because this is going to be one of the most exciting financial events of any of our lifetimes. So good luck, and I hope that's helpful.